Hey everybody, I've been talking a lot about this new Mural Joe Live that we're about to start broadcasting. So I finally got a date for you. We're going to do the first one on the 25th of this month. That's going to be a Friday evening at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So we're going to send out an email reminder to those of you that signed up on the email list, and make sure that you know right before that's going to broadcast, and it's not too late still. Send me an email through the Mural Joe webpage, or just send it to joe@muraljoe.com, just so I have an email to tell you it's coming up. Now, I thought I'd just show you this mural that I've been working on. I'm finally getting to this picture that I promised my daughter Zoe that I was going to do a long time ago. She wants a cheetah chasing a gazelle. So she's 8 years old, and she wants this like National Geographic scene on this wall. So over there we're going to have a gazelle running from this cheetah. I just thought I'd show it to you. A work in progress. I'm only like a day into it, in hours. Now, I get asked a lot about composition. So in this video I want to talk a little bit how I develop the composition, how I choose where to put things in what position. So you can see with this guy, I've got him in motion. So I did a lot of research on the anatomy of a cheetah to see what would tell you the most that this guy is running, so you get a sense of speed. And I find that always having things at an angle enough to see the length of them so that you can see that depth is always real important. It's always nice for your eyes. Your eyes are always trying to lock onto the edges of something to get a read on the depth, how far back it goes into the picture. So this angle is real common. When you see animals in motion, people are always capturing him at these kind of 45-degree angle, and he's running, and then I'm gonna stop talking about that. So I'm gonna show you a couple of other pictures that I've actually finished. That it's easy for me to identify what I don't like about those. So I'm gonna go in the other room and show you some old paintings I did. Let's look at this one first. This is a picture that, believe it or not, I painted. I think it was about 11 years ago. And so there's a lot in this picture that is just not nice to look at. And I enjoy showing people my old work because it shows where I came from and the things that I've worked on and the progress that I've made. So look at these leaves. I mean, first of all, the blue against the green, the colors are totally irrelevant. There's no reason that those should be there, and they're so flat. One leaf doesn't look closer than another because the values are all the same. And the blue water is not even close to the blue of the sky, and that's what the blue comes from, is that reflection. And then the sunset's all out of order. I got orange, purple, I got yellow clouds. It makes no sense. But I'm sure you guys can find 100 more things wrong with this picture. And that's okay, it's fun to do that. But let me tell you about the composition. The rose is smack in the middle of the picture. And typically, when you're looking at a scene, your eyes try to move to the side of things in the foreground to get a good clear shot at the distant scenery. And so our eyes naturally like that middle to be open space. And so if there is foreground objects, just move them to the side a little bit. And if you graduate them, if you have multiple things that get smaller as they go back, that's even better. So let's move to another picture. Let me show you this one. Let me get this one over here. Here's another one that I did. I just did this real quick while a bunch of people were watching. And you can see this is a scene that I kind of grabbed from Oak Creek Canyon here in northern Arizona. But you can see that there's basically one layer of foreground and one layer of background. So you don't get a lot of depth perception in there. It's just like two layers on top of each other. And again, I'm not using a lot of value changes, not using the real bold foreground and then transitioning gradually into a nice distant background. But I do like how the tall tree is to the side. These are up here because that gives you some perspective of it going back a little bit. And so I like the colors in the foreground. I just don't think it transitions well into that background. And that's part of a good composition, is tying the foreground and the background together with the transition of the intensity of the colors. Let's look at another one. Can we get it on this one? Here's one I did. This was kind of a keepsake. We had a photograph from Austria at this little shop we stopped at, and this was in the background, so I did a painting of it, but it's not a good painting. The foreground is nice and bold, and it pops forward like these shadow trees, but it's just one layer, again, just like the last one. There's nothing transitioning into the picture. There's nothing that's going back into it. And in the more recent paintings I do, I always try to put backlighting on things and make them look like they're wrapping into the picture. There's nothing like that. The best thing about this is the way this hill goes up and it feels like it slopes down, because that gives you some depth. But because of this even value across the whole middle ground, even value across the whole foreground, it's like way too formatted. Background, middle ground, foreground, just flat layers. And there's no movement. Nothing's going on. So this is really a very boring picture, although the colors are relatively nice. So I'll show you one that I think is a little better than all of these, but there's still plenty wrong with it. I like showing what's wrong with my pieces. You know, I get compliments all the time. It's nice to see stuff that I've done all wrong. So this was a sample I did for a job. It was going to be like a 25-foot mural, and I just did this as a sample. What I like about it is look at these foreground trees. The big tree, smaller tree, smaller tree, smaller tree, smaller tree, offset from the middle. So you get a real sense of that background going further and further away. Look at how the values back here are very light and gray compared to these that are dark and bold. Bold meaning not a lot of gray in it. Yellow, green, the dark colors. There's more color, less grays. So these distant lighter grays really make that go back. And this tree off to the side shows you perspective there. And the same with this one. This is even bigger here. So what you get is any time you graduate from a bigger, closer object to a smaller one, you get a sense of perspective. And it's nice if you have more than one track of perspective going. So here I have one like that. You see, this tells us that these are even closer than these. So you have this vanishing point going like that. This tells us that these are closer than these, and so it goes back like that. And then this mountain is the most distant background. That mountain's all wrong. The base of the mountain should never be coming down that low from the horizon, because that makes it like all out of order. That's my son in the background. He's, you know, this is my house, so there's background noise. Now, I did this water all wrong. I made it lighter as it goes down. Just the opposite should be true. It should be lighter as it goes up, where the angle becomes sharper in relation to your vision. This back end of the water should have way more of the sky reflection, and I made it brighter and brighter as it gets lower. I just got it backwards. So that's how I lay out a composition. I try to get as much depth perception as I can possibly get in it by using vanishing points, and never right in the middle, because your eyes always try to move to the side of foreground objects to see further. So that's all I really know to say for now. And you know, I'll think more about the subject to see if we can talk more about it in the future. But I have no official training in composition. I just go with my natural instincts on what I think I would like to see if I were standing in that scene. Because I think a lot of times instincts give you a better, more organic reaction than you know, the more engineered product. Alright, that's all I'm going to say for now.